My name is Eslien. I am here representing RuralRise Community Empowerment, and I want to highlight something, and I also have a question. When you spoke about two of your thematic areas, which were the corporate governance and socio-economic development, you highlighted a little bit on rural poverty. And I want to highlight, with the work that we do in rural areas, seeing as rural youth actually have a huge population. Currently we're standing at 29.3% of rural youth in rural areas, and this is the higher demographic when you compare it to other age groups that are your elderly, your younger, and then the other age groups. My question is, we have a lack of decentralization that contributes to rural-urban migration because it causes issues with urbanization, and then of course we have shanty towns and other problems that come out of that. And if you look at the statistics of 2024, we have seen that from 2011 to 2023, about 64% of people moved from rural areas to urban areas, and now currently we are sitting with statistics of about 50% of people in urban areas and 50% of people in rural areas. However, the movement is so big that it's 64% of the entire population. In your work, what do you see as realistic considerations that the country can take to address this issue? Because once we have a balance of development between the rural areas and urban areas, we would be able to address a lot of the issues that we're facing currently. And if you look at a lot of our industries, our agriculture industries, our mining industries, they are operating in areas that rural areas are located, right? You also mentioned that CSR responsibility is a huge opportunity for Namibia. Should we have regulated CSR, we would benefit from funding mechanisms, especially the civic society spaces that help government in addressing a lot of the development issues. Thank you.
Yeah. This baseline report spends a great deal on the decentralization process. And local authorities and regional authorities needs to demand decentralization from central government. Central government will not willingly decentralize. The demand needs to come from the bottom. It is in the constitution, there is an act, but people in central government are refusing to decentralize, and partly because there is no demand from the bottom to say, this is a constitutional imperative, it's in the act, why are you not decentralizing? Even Ministry of Urban Rural Development, some of its functions have not been decentralized, and they are in charge of decentralization. And many reports have said that, in fact, that's not the ministry where the decentralization unit must be. It must be either in the Prime Minister's office or in the presidency, because it's a ministry that is doing the decentralization process. They are being disrespected by their other peers because they are at the same level. But if instruction comes from Prime Minister or from the presidency, decentralization will happen. So the demand needs to come from the bottom. I want to commend and encourage the youth. The RuralRise, I've seen you in the social media and so on. Please continue, intensify your work. I also like that when you make your points, it's evidence-based. You quote statistics and so on. That's very, 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 very good. So claim your space, organize, network with other youth, and let's talk. I consider myself still very much youth, and I work a lot with the youth. Yeah.
There was a question on rural-urban migration. The question was, what strategic policy are we suggesting to address this problem? This is a very serious problem, and it's also putting a burden on all the cities whether it's Erongo, whether it's Onomaeke, or Ketmal, or even in the north. How can we keep people in their areas? How can we create employment there? The only thing that I would suggest is that the people there, they have the regional councils. They must identify opportunities which are there that needs investment, so that at least the regional council, they identify this opportunity, they speak to the central government, they speak to the investors, so that they can come and invest in those regions, so that the people will not be forced to go out and look for employment somewhere else. So the youth must mobilize themselves, as my colleague said. They must identify the opportunity and then speak to their regional council, so that they can motivate opportunity to come, and then they create job for themselves in their region.
About two terms, reskilling and upskilling. This goes to the youth. Industries are changing. The qualifications that you have now will become irrelevant. So it requires you to reskill and upskill, so that you can continue to be relevant in the industry that are coming. You are at least among the, should I say, fortunate, because Erongo region and Karas region, new industries are emerging. Oil and gas, green hydrogen industries are emerging. So you need to make use of that space, make use of that opportunity, and see where is it that, I understand there's going to be, even if you have to request for a vocational training center, like the council have said, not the traditional ones, the new industries, so that you can take up that space and help you to develop. And